So the last couple of days have been pretty busy for FPS news, and while we're playing a little bit of catch up here, this year with Modern Warfare 3, we're getting a lot of content that for longtime veterans may look familiar. I mean, of all the 16 maps for 6v6 play at launch we'll have, those are all from the original Modern Warfare 2 from 2009. But what if I told you that this might not be the only time we see this sort of thing happen in the COD franchise? What if Modern Warfare 3 is kind of just the start for what's to come down the pipeline of how the franchise will operate in the coming years? Well, a new rumor alleges just that, and today we're breaking down what this means and what you may be able to expect in, well, not necessarily the near future horizon, but in the future a little ways down the road still. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below on what you think here in regards to this new rumor alleging even more massive remasters akin to Modern Warfare 3 and what we see this upcoming year. Like the idea, like what it could mean for more content, dislike it wholly, whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare 3, X-Defiant, and even more FPS content in the future. I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, check out my friends over at G Fuel for upwards of 30% off your entire order with code Espresso on things like tubs of hype sauce, MS Melon, hibiscus tea, as well as starter packs, but more on that a little later. Link down below if you guys want to check it out. But that said, let's jump into it. So the rumor we're discussing today, or potential leak, comes from none other than El Boberto, formerly Bob Network UK, who's been leaking stuff like crazy the last few months, but he alleged this is very likely to change within the next 2 years, but COD 2025 seems to be like Modern Warfare 3, but for Treyarch's 2024 title, featuring Black Ops 2 multiplayer map remasters. Okay, so I'm a bit biased here because Black Ops 2 is by far my favorite COD game to date, so this is an interesting development in the grand scheme of things here for Call of Duty as a franchise. Now, as Bob explicitly mentioned, take it with a grain of salt. It's 2 years away. It still is very strange to think that we know nothing really, officially speaking, COD 2024, but we're already talking about 2 years down the line. Sometimes we see that happen where, like, the game that's next, you piggyback over top of that and go and talk about the next game beyond that, but to be talking 3 titles in the future is weird. So it's very possible that still 2 years away, things will absolutely be different and change as from what's reported right now. But right up front, that means 2 things here. Firstly, that 2-year cycle is indeed planned, but it's just not necessarily planned in the way that we initially expected when we heard about it for the first time last year at this time and earlier. And also, that this might be the way forward for COD's releases going forward if this starts to become a regular pattern, that these aren't 2 one-off situations. Initially speaking, just right off the top of my head and taking this at face value, if this happens, having the context of what we know with Modern Warfare 3, this wouldn't be the worst thing perhaps, especially because if we get zombies plus a campaign to round out the initial launch offering, I'll go into a bit more detail here in a second about there could be definitely way larger implications here for this. But I think that with the expectation of what we know with Modern Warfare 3 and what that's bringing now, that this makes it a bit more manageable and we don't get our hopes up for like an extra year of free content or something like that. Like a true year off, but with supplemental DLC perhaps. With the context of Modern Warfare 3 and of course knowing that Activision as a business isn't going to give up printing basically $1 billion every single fall, I think we can manage our expectations instead of hoping that it's just again going to be a free year 2 update. I mean, even if we didn't get a campaign in zombies for Modern Warfare 3, did we really expect Activision here to give us 16 multiplayer maps as a year 2 update for free? Hearing that it will likely follow the same route as Modern Warfare 3, we at least have those expectations explicitly laid out here as opposed to this time last year. But 2025, the year of Black Ops 2 took place. I mean, it's certainly fitting, right? To have all the maps for Black Ops 2 remastered into whatever COD 2024 may be. Right now, it's rumored to be a follow-up for Black Ops Cold War taking place in the 90s. It'll be interesting to see how this all shapes up because, like, unlike Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, the classic games, and also now the current ones, those all take place in the same time frame. But if we're seeing a sort of Cold War follow-up taking place in the 90s, the Gulf War, Black Hawk Down and Mogadishu, that kind of stuff, going 30 years into the future is certainly a system shock for how those maps may integrate into that current environment, that current world. But again, if it is its own standalone thing, I guess that might not necessarily be the worst case scenario. You just bring stuff up and have a sort of slight discrepancy between air quote modern content and also then weaponry of the past. Kind of like, I guess, just integration with Cold War and Modern Warfare 2019 and that Warzone era where you had that differences, but it worked. But to see all those maps come back, Nuketown, Yemen, Turbine, Standoff, Slums, Raid, Plaza, Overflow, Meltdown, Hijack, Express, Drone, Carrier, Cargo, and Aftermath, not to mention what could be a lot of the DLC maps post-launch of Black Ops 2 eventually at some point, That'd be pretty cool, honestly. And then mix that in with post-launch original maps, all of that, 15 maps up front, some absolute classics, others, well, I mean, they're maps. But like I said, Black Ops 2 is absolutely my favorite COD game, and if we're in that inevitable route of filling those off years with remasters, well, I'll take Black Ops 2 happily over a lot of different COD titles. But this sort of sets, again, the standard for primary new launch, remaster, primary new launch, remaster, and that might be the way we see going forward here, which I guess depending on who you ask is good or bad. But the big part that I can't help but think about doesn't even really revolve around multiplayer, because, I mean, if there was ever a time for Zombies Chronicles 2, this would be it. At least I'm hoping that we'd see at the very least Black Ops 2 Zombies maps. But I mean, can you imagine taking every Zombies map and repackaging it? Brother, that alone would break the internet. And to me, with the pricing of how Zombies Chronicles was back in 2017 for just 8 maps and the price point of, I think it was like $30 or whatever, even if we're just doing those classics, that includes things like Noct, Verrucht, Shinonuma, Darius, Kino, 5, Dead Ops, Ascension, Call of the Dead, Shangri-La, Moon, Green Runner, Transit, which finally a remaster that's been memed for ages, Nuketown, Die Rise, Mob of the Dead, Buried, Origins. Even if it's just those, and thrown into a $60 to $70 package, by comparison, that value is exponentially better than just 8 maps for just $30, which really wasn't even bad to begin with back then. But then if you consider like maybe the whole library of Zombies maps, Black Ops 3 includes Shadows of Evil, Der Eisendrache, Zetsubo no Shima, Garad Krovi, Revelations. You have Black Ops 4's Chaos and Ether maps, of 9, Blood of the Dead, Voyage of Despair, Dead of the Night, Ancient Evil, Alpha Omega, maybe not that one because that's kind of a double up on Nuketown Zombies, but then Tag der Toten as well. And Cold War's Die Maschine, Firebase Z, Mauer der Toten, and Forsaken, I mean, that's 32, maybe 33 possible maps to choose from for remasters and bundle it all together with this. And like, listen, I know that not every single one of these would happen, but could you imagine? Again, that would break the internet. I don't say, hey, I'd buy that immediately often, but like all that plus Black Ops 2 maps, I absolutely would for $70. Even if they did like a bulk drop of 8 to 12 with the launch perhaps of like Black Ops 2 Remastered or whatever they're going to call it, and then one map like every 2 to 3 weeks as live service, that to me is how you'd make a seasonal update worth it. Hell, I'd even take like 2 to 3 maps a season in those main seasonal drops of like the actual seasonal update and then a reloaded update. You give us 2 to 3 maps across those and you kind of burn through all those Zombies maps as well, giving us progressively Zombies Chronicles 2. That would be insane. But honestly, that's just probably getting way too ahead of ourselves here, but the prospect of all of that is fascinating to me. And again, knowing up front that that's probably what you'd end up getting instead of a brand new game with all 15 new maps, all new zombie stuff or whatever, it really is probably the closest we'll come to a Black Ops 2 remaster at that point. Just like how this is probably the closest we're getting to a Modern Warfare 2 remaster with Modern Warfare 3 upcoming this year. There's so many games, man. That just sounds weird to say all of that overlapped. But the biggest question I have beyond that is, well, who would handle the development? Because Sledgehammer is handling Modern Warfare 3 in 2023. Treyarch has whatever their next game is, Black Ops Gulf War, let's call it that, in 2024. Infinity Ward presumably is going to have another Modern Warfare game in 2026. So who has 2025? Raven's still going to be probably handling upfront all of the Warzone stuff. Beenox and High Moon Studios probably still going to be support studios and handling PC ports in the case of Beenox and other subsidiary stuff that High Moon has done. So surely Sledgehammer isn't going to go back and forth between Modern Warfare and Black Ops games, right? I mean, the initial rumor was, back whenever year 2 of Modern Warfare 2 was rumored, it was that Infinity Ward was going to handle this upcoming year of air quote Modern Warfare 3, what turned into Modern Warfare 3. If that's the case, well then Treyarch theoretically still could be handling year 2, giving us a second campaign, all these multiplayer maps remastered, and whatever zombies may be coming in that regard too, if it is a full repackaging here and a new premium release to go along with that. So theoretically speaking, it really could just be Sledgehammer this year, Treyarch in 2024 and 2025, and then back to Infinity Ward presumably for 2026 in a Modern Warfare 4, though after Modern Warfare 2, I'm not entirely sure if I'm really looking forward to 2026 and that far out, given what core gameplay decisions they may implement with that game. But anyways, again, that is thinking so far ahead. But it's weird because, like, we kind of have some information perhaps 2 years out now at this point, or over rather. So that is where we're at here. Just want to talk to you guys about that and let you know what you need to. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think here of this? Would you like to see Black Ops 2 maps remastered here in the way of Modern Warfare 3 and how they're handling this year, but for a year or two of Treyarch content? More to the case, drop your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and make sure to check out my friends over at G Fuel, where code Espresso can get you 30% off your entire order with certain items like Hype Sauce Tubs, Hibiscus Tea, MS Melon, and starter kits. Link down there in the description below if you guys want to check that out. But finally, if you guys want to stay up to date with all things Call of Duty related, Modern Warfare 3 upcoming, we got the multiplayer reveal and the beta upcoming, we got X Defiant coming as well. If you guys want to stay up to date with all that kind of stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button to join the community. I'd love to have you. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. So thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.